So for series, there's a limit of 2 characters. Yeah, 2 characters. So from Fairy Tail, I'm gonna of course include Natsu Dragneel and Grateful Buster. Just because they're the main character, they're the main cast. I will include them. And for One Piece, I'm going to include Luffy and Marco the Phoenix. Those are my attackers. And this is going to be funny. This is going to be a funny selection, but I think I'm going to pick a character from High School DxD, and the 2 characters I'm going to pick is Rias Grammary, just because I mean she is the Princess of Annihilation. Spoiler alert, and a ruined princess. So I'm going to pick Rias Grammary, and I think this guy is a little iffy, but I think Issa Hyodo will definitely his power is definitely counted because technically the Red Dragon Emperor is actually part of him, and he's been possessed by the Red Dragon Emperor. So I think Issa Hyodo is acceptable, and plus if he master up the technique Juggernaut, which transform him into a fully dragon, I think that's going to be a really badass ability that can actually rival both Goku and Vegeta. Definitely, because in the story, Issei's Juggernaut ability can actually make gods envious of how powerful that is. So I'm going to pick Issei Hyodo and Rias Grammar from High School DxD. And as for my strategist, I'm going to pick Lelouch v Britannia. It's actually a tough decision, but at the end, I'm actually considering him because of his Gias, because he can't kill anyone. He can control his power without killing anyone. He's just going to use his Gias to like manipulate them to jumping off the arena. So Lelouch v Britannia is my strategist. And as for my healer, I actually debated for my healer either Sakura Haruno or Hime Inoue, but at the end I actually considered Sakura since he's fairly powerful with superhuman strength. She can fight well. She has regenerative ability, so she can hold her own in the fight. So I'm going to pick Sakura Haruno. And number 9 is actually a doctor, so this is also a good fighter who can fight well and heal all of the other fighters at the same time. It's going to be Dr. Frankenstein from Soul Eater. Yep, you heard me right. He can fight well without a weapon, and he can also heal all of the contestants. So all of his teammates. So Dr. Frankenstein from Soul Eater is my number 9, and just because I just want, and from Boku no Hero Academia, I actually want Shoto Todoroki. Yeah. Just to add some firepower to the mix. I mean, I have Natsu Dragneel, Grateful Buster, Luffy, Marco Rias Grammary, Issei Hyodo, Sakura Haruno, Stein, and I have more than enough power in my team. So definitely, and not to mention Shoto is actually no. I think he's a good strategist. Yeah, he does think fairly well. So I'm gonna go for Shoto Todoroki from Boku no Hero. So my Tournament of Power team would be Natsu Dragneel, Grateful Buster, Marco the Phoenix, Monkey D. Luffy, Rias Grammary, Issei Hyodo, Lelouch Britannia, Sakura Haruna from a healer, Lelouch Britannia from a strategist, and Frankenstein from Soul Eater, and Shoto Todoroki from Boku no Hero. Hello everybody and welcome to a new video, and for today's video we're going to be joined by my special co-host Natsu, the pop figure. Natsu dragged over here. I'm going to put it right over in my speaker. Yeah, we're going to be talking about cliches in anime, because currently in cliches it's truly hard to come up with new concepts, new tropes to explore in the fictional realm, not just in anime, of course. But some of them can be really annoying, but some can really be inspirational for the rest of us weebs. With that being said, I'm going to be discussing in this video Kenichi Shirahama's Kenichi from the Mightiest Disciple, which my all-time favorite underrated underdog protagonist, because I'm going to be discussing underdog protagonist and power of friendship. And for that, my favorite trope for that is Asta. Probably Asta. I'm going to be comparing him with Deku. And Kenichi Shirahama, just because I want to talk about Kenichi, because I love Kenichi. And for power of friendship, I'm going to be comparing One Piece and Fairy Tails, and how One Piece power of friendship is more implemented to improve Luffy's character, rather than in Fairy Tail it's just an annoyance basically. So without further ado, let's begin with Kenichi, shall we? Oh, by the way, you guys, before I start the video, if you guys want like a blog post, because I will post this video on, or the script for this video on my blog page, which my blog page will be linked on the description below. If you guys don't mind, you can, if you don't want to listen to my voice, or instead you want to read it, visit my blog page, which is linked in the description below. Without further ado, let's get it started, shall we? The story of history's mightiest disciple is basically Kenichi. At the beginning of the series is being bullied. Yeah, all he wants is to get himself out of that pathetic state. And even his master throughout the series said that he's actually no good at martial arts. He doesn't have any talent, but with hard work, with determination, he was able to become the one of the strongest fighters, most badass characters in his series, which really inspired me that way, because right now I am trying to work out a bit. So Kenichi Shirahama is definitely one of my all-time favorite, just because I kind of have a little bit connection. I do want to better myself as well as be physically fit. I also want to like him. Although I don't have a Mio for Ranger though. His determination is basically just to better himself, to be good enough for Miyu, which is, man, the manga. I feel a little bit prouder for my boy Kenichi there, because Kenichi got a Miyu at the end there. So with that being said, let's proceed into the next part. Actually, I'm gonna be discussing Black Clover and My Hero Academia, because I'm gonna be explaining what the story is and comparing how different My Hero Academia's translation of the trope of underdog protagonist from Black Clover and Kenichi, how I like Kenichi and Black Clover more than My Hero Academia or Deku. Basically, I like Asta and Kenichi more. So Black Clover is a story about a world where magic is very prevalent towards all other people. Animals have it, the peasants have it, the commoners, the nobles have the most powerful one. They're elves, devils, but the main character starts off without any magic power, and his goal is to eventually become the king, the wizard king. Yeah, wizard king, pirate king, Hokage, yeah, kind of those things, right? Very stereotypical, but he's the underdog protagonist that I love because, like, in the world of Black Clover, like at the age, I think it's at the right age of 15 or 10. I think it's at the right of 15. They get a grimoire, and his rival, Asta's rival, has the most powerful broken ass wind magic, and he's been chosen by four-leaf Clovers. Meanwhile, Asta, with no magic, his drive is just to become the Wizard King, to become even better or stronger than his rival, by just using his training, like physical training. He trained hard, his workout basically is just strongman workout, and he did that for the rest, for all of his life, and he got ripped. Even if it was uncertain for him that he ever gets a grimoire or an ability, he trained so hard until he becomes one of the strongest man in his world. Like even the strongest captains in Black Clover respect Asta's tenacity and strength, like his pure strength. And of course, he gets all the girls. Like he gets Noelle, he gets Mimosa, he gets Rebecca. Like, I get all passionate about Black Clover. It should really catch up to that, because I stop at in between the demons arc. I really should continue that, but I really do love Asta for that. Like, it was so uncertain, but he ended up one of the most powerful guys in his world. And not to mention, his ability, unlike the nine-tailed fox from Naruto, it's not really that, it's seemingly not that OP, but it gives him enough boost to compete with magic users, captain level magic users, and his rival as well. So I really love that. Even with, I feel like he's definitely gonna become the next Wizard King, because he worked hard for it and he trained hard for it. He will surpass everyone. So let's go on to My Hero Academia. Deku from My Hero Academia is also an underdog protagonist, really popular character. So the star of My Hero Academia is everyone has quirk, just like in Black Clover, but our boy is quirkless and he wanted to be a hero. But, well, yeah, okay. Being a hero without a quirk and competing against people with quirks is kind of a little bit hard, so that's basically why he's an underdog protagonist. But one thing about Deku that I kind of don't like is he was just fanboying prior to him receiving All Might's quirk, basically. So with Asta, even though he doesn't have magic, he trained hard physically. I think, yeah, physically, not really quite mentally, but I guess Deku can assist with that, because Deku has trained gathering intel, but otherwise that's just called fanboying, right? It's not really a train. He didn't really train prior to that. He just keeps on crying, and even now in the series, he just keeps on crying, and that's why I kind of compare. If I compare it to Kenichi and Asta as a underdog protagonist, Deku really hasn't. Deku hadn't really. Yeah, sure, he struggled. He struggled a bit. He trained hard, but compared to what Asta went through, Asta didn't have any magic powers. It was uncertain that he ever will receive a grimoire, but he still trained. But prior to Deku receiving All Might's quirk, he never actually trained, and just gathering nodes. Like, yeah, sure, intelligence detrimental in being a hero, but strength is also the important facet to it as well. So, and not to mention, there's also a lot of people who is worthy of having the all for one, or one for all. All for one, yeah, that's the enemy. That's the enemy, not the one for all. Like Mirio, I personally like Mirio more than Deku because I feel like he struggled more, he trained more, and overall he's a better character than Deku. And yeah, maybe memes in the internet do flow on my side, so maybe it has, it also has a thing to do there. But overall, in terms of underdog protagonist, Deku isn't really much of an underdog the moment he received the one for all quirk from All Might, right? But yeah, sure, it's gonna be hard. He's still trained, but it's going to be hard without a quirk. But there are plenty of heroes in fiction that actually is actually a hero that has no power. I mean, take for example Batman. Batman doesn't have any superpowers, just have money. Yeah, and Hawkeye or Green Arrow, I think they don't have correct powers, right? Or strengths. They do have excellent marksmanship skills and parkour skills, but other than that, they don't really have any powers. But they still are heroes. Like, why not be that? So even if he has powers, why didn't he train to have a stronger body, right? Oh, my music ended. Especially that when he received the quirk, the number one requirement to it was, of course, having a strong body. So why didn't he train at all? So that's just my issue with Deku, basically. So overall, in terms of characters as underdog protagonists, I prefer Asta and Kenichi more, and even Naruto is a much better underdog protagonist because he was ostracized by his village, and that he worked hard until he won over his village and became a world uniting leader, right? So compared to that, Deku really isn't a good underdog protagonist. So that being said, let's proceed into the power of friendship. The power of friendship is definitely one of the most overused trope of anime, and can really be annoying where the main bad guy almost like he's beating the main protagonist and suddenly a magic burst of power as the main protagonist burst forth out of the main protagonist as he remembered that he has friends. Yeah, that's basically Nazi, like flames of emotion, more like power of friendship, right? Like I do pride myself in like saying that I do love fairy tales. They have some of the greatest moments in fairy tale, but power scaling wise, it's kind of garbage. Like power of friendship gets in the way of the power scaling in fairy. I do love it. I made a manga reaction back when it was weekly coming out, back when it's still going on in serialization. I did like reacting to it. I love fairy tale. I do pride myself one of the fairy tale fandom, but even I, as a fairy tale fan, have to admit that power of friendship kinda ruins fairy tale a bit. And I get it, the main theme of fairy tale is about friendship, and that's fine, and dandy, but at the end of the day, power scaling wise, it's hard for me to understand or comprehend how powerful Acne Lugia is, or Mard Gear is, if all of a sudden, not to just power of friendship boost fist hit their butts, right? Like in comparison, in One Piece, Oda always
Oda always utilized power of friendship, but in One Piece is the closest. It's actually is the thing that I will compare it, because Oda actually knows how to incorporate power of friendship, like through his backstories of the Straw Hats, through backstories of the antagonist. He can also he can also incorporate it in moments where Robin said, "I want to live." He incorporates that and take it take it a step further and have Luffy invent new moves. Like in Power Friendship in One Piece is basically Luffy inventing new moves, which excites me even more for future to come and Luffy struggles to become the Pirate King. Like what what techniques would he even develop? More like in Annie's lobby arc, Zoro and invented the Ashura or the Nine Sword style. Sanji got the Diable Jambe, and Luffy got two techniques of his, which is Gear Second and Gear Third. So, in Fishman Island, in memory of his late brother Ace, he he wanted to protect his friends more. Thus, Power Friendship kicks in, and he has Red Hop now. He can literally ignite his fist just like his brother Ace, and punch and burn his enemies. And not to mention, in the case for the Flamingos fight, it was shown that he was training the next level of his Devil Fruit, which is fourth gear, and I want more of that. I want more techniques from Luffy coming out from Power of Friendship or his determination to protect his comrades. So, for me, One Piece and Fairy Tail always gets compared, but One Piece is far superior than Fairy Tail. Like, as much as I love Fairy Tail, I do have to agree that One Piece is far superior than Fairy Tail. Like, there are moments in Fairy Tail that I really love, like funny things with Natsu and Lucy and freaking shippings, but it can't compare with the greatness of One Piece, right? But how they utilize Power of Friendship really well and better than Fairy Tail. If there's something I want you guys to take away from this, cliche is not necessarily what makes a series bad. It's how the writers input cliche or what's already in there into their story, and how well they write it. Like Kenichi, Asta, freaking Fairy Tail, One Piece and Deku as another protagonist. Kenichi, Asta compared to Deku, or One Piece and Fairy Tail in terms of Power of Friendship. It's basically based on how the writer implements them in the stories, all this cliche, and how well they write it into their stories. Vagabond's settings is in 16th century Japan. Shinmin Takizo is a wild, rough young man, and both his appearance and his action. His aggressive nature has won a collective reproach and fear of his village, leading him. Let's move it there. Leading him and his Matahachi, and his best friend Matahachi Hunaiden, aka a piece of shit, because he's kind of a piece of shit. No spoilers again, he's kind of a piece of shit. So, piece of trash, best friend, piece of trash or best friend, yeah. And then run away in search of something grander than provincial life. The pair enlist in the Toyotomi army, yearning for the glory, but when Toyotomi suffered a crushing defeat in the hands of the Tokugawa clan at the Battle of Sekigahara, the two friends barely made it out alive. And of course, Matahachi, if not for Takizo, Matahachi is actually didn't survive it because Takizo kind of saved his life. But I'm gonna point that out right now because I'm gonna be pointing out later what he did that deserved him the worst friend of all time award. Okay. After they were separated, SHOUNEN returns home on a self-appointed mission, notified the Honoiden family of Matachi's survival, but instead find himself a wanted criminal framed for his friend's supposed death or supposed murder based on history of violence. Upon the capture, he is strung up on a tree and left to die. An itinerant monk, the distinguished Takuan Soho, takes pity on him, on the devil child, secretly freeing him, and with a new name to avoid pursuit by the authorities. Musashi gives Miyamoto. Vagabond, of course, is a fictitious retelling of the life of Japan's most renowned swordsman, the Sword Saint Musashi Miyamoto. His rise from swordsman with no other desire other than to become an invisible under the heavens, to an enlightened warrior, slowly learns of the importance of close friends and self-reflection in its life. Okay, so that's all from the anime's plot synopsis. I'm gonna leave the link if you want to read it, the plot synopsis, in my anime list on the description below. But here's my take on the story, because I did read it and I did enjoy reading it. I love it. I was leave speechless when I was reading it. I was just focusing on that panel because it's one of the best art in manga history so far that I've read. Like, I've read a lot of manga, but this manga, you can tell by the cover so far. Just by the cover, it's beautiful. Like that. Okay, let's get on to my review. Overall, the art of this manga is amazing. I can honestly admire the manga for its art alone, with such an amazing overarching story filled with characters I hate, like Matahachi and his mother, because they're both pieces of trash, and characters I love, like Takuan and Utsu. Of course, there's gonna be spoilers here, okay? That help Takizo or Musashi grow as a person with a powerful emotional moments to boot. I truly recommend giving this a read. Okay, let's go in depth, shall we? The characters Takizo and the story focuses on the characters Takizo and Matachi. More on Takizo, but not on Matashi, because of course it's a piece of trash. They're foils of each other, with one of them, Takizo, transformed from a beast who doesn't trust anyone and doesn't rely on anyone, to a man who actually wanted to realize that he needs close friends and he needs to reflect on his actions. And the other loses his pride as a man because he just wanted the easy way out, and allow himself to drown in pleasure with another woman. Matahachi, who was raised with fortune, a caring mother, I should probably write that. Yeah, caring mother and a loving fiancé too waiting for him in his own village, and he abandoned it. As he abandoned all of that and as he abandoned all of that he had, including his best friend that saved his life, to be with a woman and daughter he just met, of course. After that, he was kind of verbally abused by those two women he ran away with. Although that was probably the most satisfying part of Matachi's character, the fact that the woman and the daughter actually abused him. He just meant, yeah, to elope with them. And this man is such a piece of trash again to the core. I hope in the future volumes he does redeem himself though. I really do in the future. Yeah. But for now, let's just call him trash. Okay? Because I can't like his character much. Meanwhile, Takizo, upon arriving in his village, was welcomed with hostility, especially Matachi's mother, which is a bona fide psychopath, and accused him in killing and endangering her trash of a son. And they even accused him of lying about what happened to his son. Betrayed by his own village, he closed himself off and killed any villagers that sided with Matachi's mother. Every turn he took was betrayal by his village. He became a beast that hunts down the village and never trusted anyone. Unable to trust anyone, 2 people in that village believed in him. The girl Matachi abandoned, the girl Matachi's supposed to marry, and a passing monk named Takuan. Takuan and Utsu set out to capture Takizo. Since Utsu is the only one who can bring him back thanks to their close friendship, they were successful. Then Takuan hanged up on a tree until he realized his mistake, some self-reflection thing. And then, of course, Matachi. Oh, wait. Not real. Wait. What? Okay. Matahachi's mother laughed as Takizo is being hanged up on the tree. Of course, that needs to be fixed in my script. And of course, Matahachi's mother laughed as Takizo was being hanged up on a tree, like a sadist that she is. But Utsu was the one who helped Takizo in his self-reflection journey and helped him, feed him while he was hung up on a tree. He set him down, and of course, Takuan took pity on him and faked Takizo's death, and assuming under a new name, Miyamoto Musashi, and he assumed a new name, Takizo, a new name. And well, that's all for now, because the end of this volume is actually setting up I think a new arc, the Kyoto arc, which is pretty bitch ass right now. So it's really awesome right now. So I think it's because he met a lot of samurai in Kyoto that challenges even his own skills, because he was pretty strong, but in Kyoto there's a lot more powerful samurai than them. So I'm kind of excited to read the next volume right now. I hope I can track down more volumes as I go. Overall, I did enjoy. There's a lot of emotional moments. Of course, I can show you some of the emotional moments because I really did enjoy this. Where is that? This is actually one of my favorite moments. Whew. Yeah. That one. I think that was the. Yeah, this one is actually when they were self-reflecting. Yeah. So amazing art, like when both Takuan and Utsu changed Takizo, and of course help him change and realize his own misdeeds and self-reflection. Help him self-reflect on himself.
So the chapter begins. Kid and Killer actually in this part upon closer inspection and of the scene, actually forgot to mention that from the look of things, Big Mom and Kid actually briefly clash, and then meanwhile at the rooftop of the castle of Skull Mountain right now, Luffy's clash with Kaido create a shockwave that throws off both Big Mom and separating Big Mom and Kid from clashing and throwing them to different floors essentially. So for that, I actually kind of did not mention it for a while there, so for that ado, let's continue on to the review, shall we? I actually like what happened to Kid. I have a favorite moment between Kid and Killer. They're throwing at it. Wait. I don't know. So it does pans out. It pans out, and when it pans out, it's going to be Luffy versus Kaido. Yeah, Luffy versus Kaido. It's good. Yeah, and Lowry just reacting to how banger right now. Okay, and Kaido laughing and commenting on how Luffy is smiling and really happy and satisfied with his fight right now. But Kaido is gaining a bit of respect for our boy here, although I do love Luffy. My favorite moment here is Luffy attacking him again and then clashing Kaido, kind of like how Whitebeard and Gold Roger clash in the flashback, or how every Yonko so far has been clashing. That kind of clash, like ooh, epic. Luffy just powers up right there, just levels up like roof. I don't think that would be enough though, because Kaido is still really more experienced in Rio than Luffy does. And a little bit of a clash there. Shockwave that blows away Mr. Kid and Killer. Down right down below them actually. Yeah. And then here is the fun part. They encounter. It's like, oh, Hawkins, yeah, freaking Hawkins, right here. Hawkins, and then Bushtra Swordum. The clash. Kid and Hawkins actually clash for a little bit there, and then did kind of betray them. More like really angry right now. The whole betrayal thing turning against them. And of course, originally the one who turns against them is Akudo. Killer being the right hand man of Kid has stayed behind and actually face Hawkins in Brawl and commented of how loyal of a dog Killer really is. And then pans out to second. They're being chased by Page 1 and Ulti actually. Both Nami and Usopp and Kumachio and Utama is being chased. Utama here is actually reaching his limit because he's been feeding a lot of the smile user. I wonder, I mean, she's bound to hit a limit there, but she's pushing herself until they switch all the smile users. Nami and Usopp actually. It leads to a funny scene with Nami saying her big sis and Uncle Usopp will protect her with boom. Yep, that's a freaking hilarious scene right there. Big Bomb appearing, yo! Of course, all of them is like in shock right now. Both Nami and Usopp is in shock and kind of terrified, especially Nami since they just got away right now. So they kind of in shock, but of course Tama is smiling because she never really realized who Big Mom is, how terrifying she can be. A plot twist, she apparently remembers Tama and is thankful for him, and then Tama told her that the entire Kabari town is wiped out so that they can. And then Miss Big Mom right here comes right in and slap page 1 right into the face with freaking Luffy in shock, tears that it's gonna be a big problem with Big Mom. Turns out like, oh my, at first actually before this raid even began, I actually predicted that it's gonna be Big Mom versus Kaido. This is gonna be a scene where Big Mom will fight Kaido. Yeah, Kaido, because of the whole amnesia thing. People, big YouTubers actually predicted that at first, but it was quickly debunked because Big Mom got his memory back, but then now encounters Tama and apparently he remembers her. Like, what? That's a huge plot twist right there. And then Big Mom avenging Akubure Town and punching page 1 like, oh my god. Although there's gonna be a break next week, so Oda, you can take a break whenever you want because damn, that was such a high chapter right there. Although I do have a question, why Big Mom still remembers stage, but for now, that part right there made me hype. Like, there's also the Luffy versus Kaido part, the Killer versus Hawkins. Like, overall, this chapter for me is one of the hypest yet. Like, so far in this arc right now. Like, enough for me to make a video of it. So, without further ado, you guys, see you guys in the next review video that I do. Just hit that like and subscribe if you love my review of chapter 1011.
He said at the intro of my video, Yonko's strength has a multitude of factors. Those are how large their territories is, like Big Mom's Totland, and there's a lot more territories for Big Mom because Fishman Island is actually also a former territory of this. Because aside from Totland, there's a lot of territories of Big Mom. That's probably the largest landmass by far of a Yonko territory because it's a full-on country. But I digress. There's also influence, which is Whitebeard definitely has the strongest influence in the world because of course he's the one and only rival of Goldie Roger, and most kids actually sing a pretty terrifying song about him. Like, he's a freaking household name in terms of infamy in the One Piece world. And there's also the actual crew strength, which by far the one that I actually have for that is Blackbeard. I feel like Blackbeard has the strongest crew because of the fact that he's gathering more devil fruit. And the final is the combat ability for the crew. Of course, Shanks is gonna be ranking at the lowest there because we don't know the proficiency of how he fights. I do believe that he's definitely one of the strongest fighters. Because there's a lot of mystery around Shanks, but for now we'll rank him low in this list because of the mysteries in him. So without further ado, with that being said, I would actually rank Shanks the lowest here. Would rank lowest just because we know so little about how large his territory is. Although presumably we do know that he does own that island he was introduced in was his territory. I think there's also that territory from Bartolomeo's cover story,
which Bartolomeo stupidly attacked. Yeah. So we know so little about his territory. Of course, Backman definitely has some strength in him because he was able to paralyze Kizaru. Yeah. Possibly even Last Island. I do like the theory. I do like the theory that one of Shanks' territory is above because of the similarities of them. Like the Shanks ship is kind of looks reminiscent to a Viking ship, and then the whole Norse motif for the giant is actually just kind of reminiscent to that. Connect the dots there. So I do like that. He could definitely end up to be one of the strongest in the end of One Piece. So, and as for combat strength, he was able to stop Kaido from going to war against Whitebeard before the Marineford arc. So that's something there. And he was able to also scare off Blackbeard from the Marineford arc to stop the war. So, but for now, since we know so little about his territory and his influence, and he's relatively new to the as a Yonko, so we're gonna rank him pretty low. With that being said, let's go on to our next one. It's gonna be Whitebeard. Whitebeard would be the next to rank. The next one, Whitebeard was able to clash with Roger and Oden, so that automatically makes him stronger than Shanks physically. I mean, and then he has more experience in his belt as well and with the notoriety of being a former member of the Rocks crew, along with Big Mom and Kaido as well. So he has an influence there, a lot of influence there as well. So a lot of infamy there. So Oden was back in his prime. He was able to clash in his prime with Oden and Roger. Oden was the only one who injured Kaido, and he did. I think it was revealed at some point that Kaido and Whitebeard clash a couple of times as well. So I'm not sure which chapter that was. I should have looked at one first. But for now, since we're ranking Whitebeard past his prime at this point, we're just gonna be ranking him next to Shanks, because I do think that Kaido and Big Mom at this point in the anime is actually a lot stronger than Whitebeard. And even at a young age, Oden was one of the strongest samurai. This is a little bit on Oden's background as well in my script here. So that's for his combat ability, and yes, the division commanders with all of his allies actually revealed to be former members and former commanders of his crew. There's also his influence where even children knows about Whitebeard. Like they sang songs with him, songs about his infamy as a pirate, his how terrifying it can be. Like that's like world building for before the Marineford arc, basically. Although not much is revealed in his territories, but it is revealed that it's not really like one solid territory like Big Mom, like one country, like one mainland, so to speak, like what Kaido has with Wano, or the Totland with Big Mom. It's just more spread out. That's more on his influence kind of side. Yes, a fairly huge crew with the top one with Ace as the second division and Marcos the first division, which makes sense because Marco is the doctor and has a failing health during the Marineford arc, so having your doctor close by is kind of a smart move on Whitebeard's part. For now, I digress with that. I'm gonna be ranking Whitebeard 4th in the strongest Yonko or former Yonkos in the overall One Piece. Next would be Blackbeard, so let's transition onto that one. Blackbeard is the next one, the third one in my rank. Yeah. But the reason why Blackbeard is stronger than Whitebeard is, of course, he has 2 devil fruits, we know that, and he has roughly the same structure of size and roughly the same kind of crew structure and size as Whitebeard's main crew. Plus, he's been gathering a lot of devil fruits since the time skip, like since the Revenge War arc, Revenge War against the Whitebeard pirates. It's roughly the same size and structure, plus the devil fruits that they've been gathering since the time skip. The only difference is they have more notoriety thanks to Blackbeard causing that whole ruckus, and of course his infamy as part of the worst generation as well. Since they came from Impel Down, like his crew came from Impel Down level 6, the notoriety of that alone is kind of terrifying to the masses as well. And one of the jail managers is included in that roster of his crew. In addition, Kuzan is with them. Of course, Kuzan presumably is theorized to be a spy for Sword. So yeah, I feel like that's definitely the case there. But Kuzan is probably a spy. Yeah, a double agent for the Navy. As for territories, he took over majority of Whitebeard's territory, with the exception of Fishman Island, and the Sphinx Island, the one that Marco is protecting. Chris, I'm actually kind of glad that he didn't take over Fishman Island, because Blackbeard with Shirahoshi, he will definitely use Shirahoshi as a weapon of some sort, man. Like, if he discovered Shirahoshi's power, that could definitely be troublesome for Luffy there. Like, thank goodness, man. Like, he didn't force Shirahoshi, or he didn't took over Fishman, and he didn't force Shirahoshi to awaken his powers. Like, that's just kind of troublesome for me, in my opinion. So where are we now? And debate, it has a stronger crew than Whitebeard, and is gathering devil fruit, and so he's definitely stronger than Whitebeard at this point, and probably debatably, arguably Shanks. But again, we don't know about how proficient Shanks is with his haki. For all we know, he's stronger than Blackbeard at this point, right? Since Shanks is even shaken up by him. I have a misspelling there. I have a misspelling there, so let's erase that. The reason why I do not think that he's stronger than Big Mom and Kaido is, number one, his over-reliance on his devil fruit. I'm not sure if he unlocks haki yet. Number two, he's kind of reckless, and at some point sometimes he's like this genius schemer who orchestrate this whole war to steal Whitebeard's devil fruit, and yet on the other side, he's like stupid enough to walk into Magellan's poison. Like, really, if it weren't for the fact that Shiryu is right there, he would have died. Seriously, he's arrogant and reckless. Who just walk into Magellan's poison, man. Presumably, he has haki. And I feel like I'm not sure if he unlocked Saki though, so not sure on that one. But he's not shown using it yet. I don't think he has the same level of master of his devil fruit than Big Mom and Kaido, because it's fairly new to him as well, since they're more experienced in using their abilities. So that's it. Next will be Big Mom, my second ranked Yonko. So let's go transition into that one. Big Mom is next. In terms of territory, Big Mom definitely has a lot of territory under her, and the largest as well. Totland alone has 35 islands, and with territorial sea slugs that warning waves whenever someone enters their territory without permission or invades the territory when enemies invades. Not to mention, with Big Mom's devil fruit, she can essentially create unlimited spies around her. Like, that devil fruit's kind of useful for spying with people. Unlimited. She can create a lot of yeah, I'm just editing my script here. Her fighting force on her crew. That's wrong spelled there. On her crew that comprise of 3 sweet commanders, Katakuri, Smoothie, Cracker, and Cracker. They serve as Big Mom's strongest officer. Originally there were 4 sweet commanders, but following Urush took one down. Snack. Second are the officers, excluding the 3 sweet commanders. 74 out of them are Big Mom's 85 children. Are officers of the Big Mom pirates. 4 of them, Perspero, Compote, Daifuku, and Oven, are noted by Vito as monster, while the rest of them are not Big Mom's children, and 3 of them and 3 of them are noted to be as strong are Montdor, Opera, and Galette. Yeah. Combatants. Next are the combatants. They are members that specialize in fighting and specialized missions from Totland. The rankings for the combatants following pieces of a chess game kind of reminds me a little bit of the evil pieces system of in high school DxD, which is I'm a huge fan of. I should probably continue more of those series. I do have a lot of videos in high school DxD. I do have 2 discussion videos on high school DxD. I feel like I will also link those in the description below. It's discussion system. Okay, the female next are the subordinates crew that are tied through political marriage, kind of like how Beiji is tied with marrying Chiffon with the Charlotte family, and one of the fighting forces are the homies created by Big Mom's devil fruit. Kind of like I do love that devil fruit creates unlimited armies, or the soldiers that are created from Big Mom's devil fruit. Yep, and by taking a portion of the lifespan from Totland's inhabitants and implanting those in inanimate object, plants, or animals, giving them human-like traits. Yeah, that's homies. In conclusion, Big Mom has a higher mastery of devil fruit because she had it longer than Blackbeard, a larger territory, a larger, more systematic territory, and a larger crew, soldiers, and alliance. Although I still think that Shanks have more stronger, have a lot more stronger crew than Big Mom because of that because of Blackbeard gathering more devil fruits, and of course Beckman scaring Kizaru. Like, that's definitely a factor there. So, which makes them stronger than Blackbeard, Whitebeard, and Shanks. So for me, Big Mom is stronger because she has a higher mastery of her devil fruit. He has a more systematic or larger crew than Whitebeard. I feel like she has more larger territory and larger crew and more structured crew as well. So that's just good for me. And not to mention, he has 2 years ahead of Whitebeard. In terms of strength, and I feel like she's also a lot younger than Whitebeard. Are they the same age? I think she's definitely a lot younger than. She's younger than Whitebeard in that regard. So, for me, Big Mom is definitely stronger than Whitebeard. Lastly, let's go discuss the main man of Wano arc, Kaido, or the Wano saga, Kaido. So let's transition into that one. Lastly, in terms of crew strength, territory, and as an individual, Kaido is definitely the strongest for right now, because I do still believe that Blackbeard will end up to be the strongest at the end of One Piece. So I'm gonna hold my hands on that one. But for right now, it's Kaido is the strongest. Wano is strong enough to stay independent from the world government's control. So with that fact alone, that's a good territory to rule over in Wano. So it's strong enough, and it has natural barriers as well. It has an isolationist policy where even the act of leaving the country or contact through outside the country is a crime. Not to mention, the samurai strength is unknown to the world government, so they're kind of afraid to attack them. And in general, there's also natural boundaries which will take the world government exceedingly a lot of resources just to take over Wano alone. So for that, I feel like it's definitely strong. It's not as big as Big Mom's territory or as widespread as Blackbeard and Whitebeard's territory, but it's definitely stronger than them because it has a natural barrier both politically and physically. That's definitely a perfect territory to have for a Yonko right there. Yeah. From alone. One was the natural barrier and guarding the borders. The only way is through a waterfall or a hidden cave, and that was shown when Apu was coming into Wano as well. So yeah, it is a country that is exceedingly difficult to invade. As for Kaido's crew, the Beast Pirate, it's roughly 20,000 strong, with Kaido as the Governor General, and the structure is the All-Star King, Queen, and Jack. Of course, it's kind of arguable at this point that Queen and Jack is actually stronger than Marco because they were having a hard time against Marco in chapter 1000. Spoiler alert. So, and not to mention, Jack is also injured by the Minks, like heavily during the war raid at Onigashima. So, I think they're definitely going to get back up to fight and gonna be a challenge later on the story. But for it's kind of arguable that they're stronger than. It's arguable that they're stronger than Marco if they're having that much of a hard time against him. So for now, let's leave it at that. Next is that Tobiropo, the group which X-Drake is a part of, or later abandoned because he was discovered as a traitor. But for the sake of the anime only watchers, I'm not gonna reveal the names of the Tobiropo. So for that, yeah, I'm just gonna leave X-Drake in there now. There's that group that X-Drake is formerly a part of. So the headliners and Sheepshead, Hawkins, and etc. So that's how I think Hold'em is also a headliner. There's also the Gifters, the Pleasures, this is essentially the foot soldiers, and the Waiters, Subalternate crews like formerly the Drake Pirates, Honor Pirates, and the Hawkins Pirates, and finally which is previously there are 5, including the Korozumi family and Don Quixote. They have connection for the Korozumi and the Don Quixote family as well as one of their prominent alliance. And now the most prominent is the Big Mom Pirates as their alliance. So formerly Korozumi and Don Quixote, and now just the Big Mom Pirates. So they're now combined, right? Allies together. So for now, that's going to be my ranking. For 6 is gonna be my 6th rank is going to be Shanks, and then Whitebeard, Blackbeard, Big Mom, and then Kaido as the strongest for right now at least. But I do believe that as time goes on, Blackbeard is eventually gonna surpass both Big Mom and Kaido as well eventually, because I do feel like he would want to take both Kaido and Big Mom's devil fruit. Like Blackbeard would definitely want that as well, because they are devil fruits that the Yonko has, like the two powerful individual in the two most powerful pirates in the One Piece world has. So I feel like he definitely wants to gun for that one, for those devil fruits as well. So with that being said, let's end the video here. And that's it, everyone, for this One Piece ranking, Yonko rankings video of mine. Who do you guys think is the strongest Yonko based on crew size, territories, and as an individual? Please, let's talk about that in the comment section below. And that would be it for today's kind of archive anime discussion video. If you like my content and if you want more, please do consider to leave a like and subscribe. And those are only a very few amount of anime discussion saved in my profile, in my storage, that I wanted to compile initially. What I wanted to do, the reason why I want to compile all those anime discussion, anime video, is just to improve my skills in editing. And as I go further, I realized that I don't have infinite storage in my devices. So what I wanted to archive it in this kind of fashion in this YouTube channel, the Infinite King Battle Tube, from my Infinite King TV channel to this channel, just to free up some space in my hard drive. So without further ado, if you do like this kind of podcast style anime discussion, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing to this channel. And if you want more, if you want to check out more, I will be getting or leaving a playlist from my main channel where you can check out all of my anime discussion. I think the most viewed so far over there is my Subaru ReZero discussion, kind of about Subaru's ability, which is quite surprising because I posted that right in the first season, where it's very hype up all over. So I kind of hype that it received a lot of love from the anime community. So I like that. I'm very proud of that video. So if you want to check more of my anime discussion video, please click the link in the description below. And without further ado, see you in my next video. Bye!